Holy hot damn! This man is being unclothed for the world to see. Superman episode 5 and 6 are out now, and it has been a while since I clouded up your screens with some leak. I like how in episode 5, Lois isn't confronting Clark about him being Superman, and more trying to get him to confess to it for her sake. She knows Clark is Superman and does not let up the chase. She spends so much time running around the city after every single situation Superman's trying to fix, to get him to tell her the truth. And with that whole conversation they had last episode about how much Lois cares about the truth and not keeping secrets, she obviously is not going to take this very well. He finally catches him, and so ensues the best scene in the episode, where they fight the evil corp people while handcuffed to each other. Superman is really choosing to be handcuffed, but it's a great excuse to perform some crazy combos. There's a fun piggyback ride scene. I mean, we all love that. And my favorite line of dialogue is when Lois is interrogating the last evil corporation guy, and she threatens him to get some information, and then Clark says, "Don't threaten people, Lois, that's bad." Lois jumps off of a building to finally get Clark to admit that he is Superman. Imagine if she was just wrong, though. That would be horrifying. She breaks things off with our boy, and it's left in such a bad spot. I can't handle going on without them being in love with each other. I like the mirroring of the first episode to this episode, where Clark makes a big deal about Lois lying to him about what they were doing for their first day on the job, and him having a much bigger and more serious lie later on, each giving their appropriate reactions to being lied to. Lois is a conniving female, and she should know that Clark was only trying to protect her from the truth, and she couldn't possibly understand what he is going through. People are having strong feelings over this. I don't think that it's unreasonable to be upset that someone is keeping this big of a secret from you. Well, people are allowed to have secrets, but for Lois, it's less about the fact that Clark has a secret and more that when she confronts him about it, he lies to her face. So, I get it. You can disagree with the character's actions, but you need to understand that we are omnipotent viewers who can see the whole picture of this show while Lois is just a character within it. And I think her actions are consistent ones at that. Of course she was going to flip when she found out that the man who was helping her catch the flying man is actually the flying man. And no, Lois is not on any comparable level to Amber from Invincible. I will eat all of your cartoon avatars. Anyways, we get some Jimmy Olsen B story in this episode, which works really well, but he is getting shafted in this series. No one takes my main man seriously. They ignore him when they have anything else going on in their life. Jimmy Olsen is on the lowest rung in the social hierarchy for Lois and Clark. I like Jimmy Olsen's character a lot. The more I hear from him, the funnier he gets, really. I hope he doesn't have his innocence stolen by that gorilla, though. There is a new evil Superman, but not in the way that you think. Slade is getting an upgrade from the crime syndicate, and he is also cleaning up the weapons that were released into the city. You know, the same thing that Superman is trying to do. Difference is, when Slade catches the bad guy, they don't see a jail cell. They see Allah. The crime syndicate wants to kill Superman, obviously, because he's destroying their evil property. Superman doesn't fight people. He really is just on defense until he can disarm them. I am excited more and more for Superman to become competent at fighting whatever he needs to fight, because he's going to need to be able to fight. He can't just be on defense. After the big kerfuffle in episode 5, we still get our scene of our big boy in blue fixing the city bridge, which is a cherry on top and has worked well into the lore of the enemies, kind of signifying that they have good intentions but misguided actions. Episode 6 starts off with Lois and Clark getting worried when neither of them can find out where Jimmy is. No, Jimmy has not been defiled by the gorilla. More so, he is confronted by an old married gorilla-human beastiality couple, and he's about to be defiled. This interrogation quickly turns into a much-needed therapy session for both of them. And I think the dynamic is pretty good, even though the French can grind the ears sometimes. But you know what doesn't grind on the ears? Subscribing to my channel. That button makes a wonderful noise. YouTube actually put me as head of subscriber noises. Here, I'll show you what you're missing out on. Not much lore significance really happens in this episode. It's more of an excuse to show us that bod, man. Clark is being whored out in this series. It is the best scene in the episode. I was cackling the whole time. Clark is protecting Lois from some evil corp robots who have lasers, which they use to shoot at him, which burns his clothes off. Not his pants, though. We are using Adult Swim, but we are not using it. You know what I'm saying? Missed opportunity. The gorilla and the cyborg are okay characters, but I feel like they don't have any real importance. They are not going to be in this story anymore. Like, how could they? Like, what was the point? They literally dimension hopped out of here. They were funny guys, but not important. With the gorilla and the human gone from the cryptid creation lab, I love the fact that there's lore for cryptids in this universe. The evil corp moves into their old secret lair, and Mr. Prune Juice is now working on a device to kill Superman. At the closing of the episode, the day is saved, Jimmy is saved, the relationship is kind of repaired now that Lois and Clark had that conversation about always being open with each other. The friendship between the three of them is repaired as well. Next episode, we start from zero. I am excited for what is going to appear as we draw near the closure of this season. I want some big things to happen. I don't know what they are, but I want them to happen. The battle scenes are picking up, but the animation budget isn't really there to supplement it. I hope Season 2 is going to get an upgraded budget so they can put in the effort to craft more intense, intricate battle scenes. Lois and Clark are still goals. They're back. We're so back. The gleek is overflowing. We gotta stop it. Bye.